Hello, lovely people. My name is Roel. I'm a health and nutrition coach and a diabetes practitioner, and I post these videos to inspire you to be as healthy as you can be. Now, when it comes to dealing with high blood glucose and finding out what you need to do to reduce your blood glucose levels, the first thing that most people will look at is the diet. Now, that's not the only way that you can reduce your blood glucose levels, but it is a big one and it would be an obvious one. So today I would like to talk about how you can identify what in your diet is causing your blood glucose levels to go up. And once you can identify that, then you know what to do to avoid insulin and blood glucose spikes. So when it comes to blood glucose from the diet, most of it, nearly all of it, comes from the carbohydrates in your diet. And I always like to keep things simple. You can get so overwhelmed with all the information that you can get when you're pre-diabetic or diabetic and you think, oh, what can I do? What can't I do? How much of this? How much of that? And I think it's sometimes too overwhelming. And I think that paralyzes people. So it's really important to keep it simple. And carbohydrates, that's where the glucose comes from. So you need to be able to identify where the carbohydrates in your diet are. Now, there are three types of carbohydrates in your diet. One are the added sugars. So these you can find in your jam, there's the sugar that you put in your tea, in your coffee, it's the chocolate, the biscuits, the cakes, all that stuff. That's your added sugars. Now, these will spike your blood glucose levels and therefore your insulin, and that will put you at risk of becoming insulin resistant, and then you're on your way to type 2 diabetes. So you want to avoid these insulin spikes. So basically you want to avoid these added sugars. I'm not saying you can't ever have these sugars if you want to be healthy, but if you want to reduce your blood glucose levels, you want to watch out with those. Do you need them? No, well, maybe for pleasure, but not from a nutritional point of view. You need them like you need a hole in the head. So see if you could cut those out first. Identify them, maybe do a food diary for a couple of days, get a marker pen, put a circle around all your added sugars and come up with a plan how you can reduce those or even eliminate those. Right, number 2 is your natural sugars. So there are natural sugars found in vegetables, in fruits, in dairy, and they will also, of course, turn up as glucose in your bloodstream. Now, I don't really have a problem with these natural sugars unless you drink fruit juice, which can spike your blood glucose levels, or if you eat too much fruit. If you eat more than 2 portions of fruit a day, or if you eat a lot of fruit in one go, in one session, then you can get a blood glucose spike from that. Apart from that, very nutritious. Go ahead, and even if you did have a juice, but you didn't have it with a croissant with jam, but if you had it with something full of protein and healthy fats and fiber, then that will reduce the impact of that blood glucose from the juice. And there's a lot of nutrition in there as well. So not really a big problem, I think. Dairy, I have no problem with dairy at all, provided that is clean, full fat, of course. Do not get involved with that low fat malarkey. Full of nutrition, full fat, actually has shown to be good for your heart. So don't be afraid of dairy, unless of course you're a vegan or a vegetarian, or you want to avoid it, or you're intolerant. Then obviously don't have it. You don't need it, by the way. You can get all your calcium and vitamins that you find in dairy products from other foods as well. But if you enjoy it, crack on. Clean, full fat, cheese, yogurt, milk, no problem with that. And what was the other one? Vegetables, obviously. Eat as many vegetables as you like. Nobody's ever got fat from eating vegetables. Nobody's ever got diabetes from eating vegetables, unless maybe you eat 2 kilos of sweet corn every day. Variety is always important, but if you eat a variety of vegetables, crack on with that. Eat as many as you like. So those are the natural sugars in the diet. vegetables, fruits and dairy, in my opinion, not a big problem. Then there are the starches. Now these I think are a problem. Not saying you shouldn't have them to be healthy. Personally, I don't have many of those. From a nutritional point of view, they're not that interesting. So when I talk about the starches, I'm talking about pasta, rice, potatoes, any grain-derived products. Not really big on nutrition. If they do have nutrition in them, often it's synthetically fortified, and so I don't really see the point of it. Now, dietitians will say, oh, you need starches for energy and fiber. Do you not think you can get all your energy and fiber from plenty of vegetables and protein and fat? Obviously you can, so that's a load of nonsense. But if you want to eat it, you can eat starches and not be pre-diabetic, but you want to be mindful of how much of them you're eating, which ones you're eating. So make sure that if you have rice or pasta or potatoes or bread, that is no more than what would fit on the palm of one hand in one go. And don't have it with other sugars as well, because then you're just piling on the glucose. So I'd be careful with those and make sure that you choose wisely. The more fiber they contain, the least of an impact they have on your blood glucose levels, or the slower the impact. So that's better, then you don't get a spike. So if you want to eat those small portions, choose the versions with the highest fiber content. And you can do some other things as well. If you really like your pasta and your rice and your potatoes, cook them, let them cool off completely, and then reheat them again. If you eat them, then the glycemic index is lower and there'll be less impact on your blood glucose levels. If you like bread, then you can freeze it and toast it, and that will also reduce the glycemic index. And by the way, that's not a free pass to eat a whole loaf of bread or a kilo of pasta, obviously. So yeah, I hope that gives you a bit of an idea. That's where they are. There are nowhere else. And that's not to say that no other food can make you become insulin resistant, because if you eat a lot of junk food, processed foods, you become inflamed, and then you can also become insulin resistant, because the inflammation will impair your body's ability to deal with glucose. So just remember 3 things. Eat real food: meat, fish, eggs, vegetables, nuts, seeds, fruit. That's real food. The sort of food that Mother Nature provides. Variety is important. Don't eat the same stuff all the time, and make sure you get your protein. Those are just the 3 things to remember. And if you are going to eat sugars, carbs, have a little think about what I said earlier. Is it an added sugar? Only if you want to eat it for pleasure as an occasional treat. If it's a natural sugar, not too much of a problem. And if you're going to have the starches, check that it's not too much and that it contains a lot of fiber. Hope you find that helpful. If you need any more information, feel free to contact me for a chat. And on the 13th of June, Thursday the 30th of June, I'm doing a free 1-hour webinar via Zoom, and you can register for free, and it's about how to prevent diabetes. So even if you don't think you're pre-diabetic, you could still be pre-diabetic, because it's a bit of a silent condition. You may not notice it. I'll put a link to the registration page with a little bit more information below this video. Thank you for watching. Lots of love. Bye.